Hi, everyone. I'm Sherry Clark, and I'm here with my husband, Jack Clark. He's
Hello.
in another window there. And we're here today with Dr. Mark DeBrinket. The three of us are over here in the United States. We're in Georgia, and Dr. Mark is right underneath of us in Florida. And we're happy to have you on here today if you're a guest and to see the rest of you from so many places around the world. It's always great to get together every Tuesday in our country, Wednesday for some of you. So we're always excited to share with you what are redox signaling molecules. Jack and I had no idea. Everybody we talk to has no idea. But if you listen to people when you're out and about, people will constantly be talking about they're tired, they don't sleep, they don't have energy, they hurt, they are sick all the time. They are always talking about issues that they're trying to help correct. And none of those can be corrected if your body can't, if your cells can't talk and communicate. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Dr. Mark is going to give you an overview of why does Dr. Mark and why should we
Hmm.
take these redox signaling molecules? What are they? How can we benefit from them? So I'm so excited to have him do a presentation and then we'll chat again on the back end. So I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Mark DeBrinket.
All right. Well, thank you, Sherry. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. As you know, we do different topics every week, trying to find the things that interest you the most and that could make the most impact to really to help you find that aha moment that healing comes from within. Not because of this or that I'm doing. All those things help, but it comes from within at the cellular level. So um, I have spent my entire life trying to optimize my cells. I learned this at a very young age that if we don't take responsibility for what we're putting into our mouth and give our body the right nutrients, we need proteins, vitamins, and minerals. And if we don't have them, we can't build healthy cells. So I've always known that and I've always focused on that. Um, but then, unfortunately, I had to go through a serious trauma, multiple traumas for that matter, but this was probably one of the most severe. Head on collision with an 18 wheeler. My wife and I, she broke her neck and I shattered my pelvis and disrupted my spine in many areas and a whole bunch of other damage that I don't need to go into. But they told me I would live the rest of my life in a wheelchair and I should just accept that. And pain is inevitable. Suffering was optional. I was choosing not to suffer, but I certainly felt a lot of pain. So my quest, even before this accident, being a chiropractor, is helping people recover from injuries and helping people find their way back. I focused on brain because brain plays a huge part of your vitality. And then, of course, obviously the nervous system. So it took me 17 years to be able to really crack the code and get all my abilities back and shed the wheelchair, the meds, and everything that was holding me back. But I will say that it still takes daily effort to keep it. Healing is never over. I've been able to fortunately go through an aha moment when I exhausted all my finances trying to seek the answer to get out of this situation I was in physically. And then I got really depressed because I ran out of money and everything I needed was outside the box because everything inside the box clearly wasn't helping me ever break free of it. You know, they were managing to keep me alive and I love that aspect. But I truly wanted more. And so I had to tap into that inner athlete within me, the Olympian within inside each and every one of us that you can ignite and give it power and all of a sudden you have all sorts of motivation to push your body again and push it and fight for these breakthroughs that each and every one of you could have. Okay. And so my deepest valley, the way out of that was when I finally realized, oh my gosh, like, why am I forgetting that the body's always replacing itself? And when these cells turn over again, I'm going to get a better version of that because I'm going to start thinking better. I'm going to start acting better. I'm going to start eating better. And I'm going to start doing more things for my body to make sure that I give the next cell an opportunity to actually be better than the previous one. And that was something that really gave me tons of motivation and help. And I was able to break free of that. So, health as we know it, it starts at the cellular level. Okay. Once our cells get identified of what type of cell it's going to be, it never tries to compete to be something else. It just accepts that that's its job and it's going to do what its function is supposed to do as long as it has potential to do that. We have somewhere between 30 trillion and 100 trillion, depending on how old you are and how big you are, cells that are always communicating and they need that potential to do so. So, this is where our health starts. If we don't have the ability to communicate, they can't even identify what's wrong with themselves, meaning the single cell, let alone to call for repair or let's just get a new one. It's time for this one to be replaced. So all of that is so critical to our overall, our underlying health. Let's just say it that way. And so it's aging, it's stress, it's toxins, it's illness, all of these things that we have happen to us at any age, they disrupt that communication. And now the cells can't thrive. And we start having challenges with our life. So we're here today to talk about redox signaling molecules, and we'll get to the supplement in a moment, but it's important to understand that these originate inside each and every one of the cells of your body. You have mitochondria, which are the powerhouse in that cell that are making all these little lights start to pop up everywhere. Okay. Think of them as the signaling of the cell. And with that potential that comes out of those signals, it helps them repair the damage inside that cell and protect against the stresses that we are exposed to. And it helps us maintain the actual function what the cells are supposed to do. So here's the problem. We don't want to face it, but hey, we run out of these molecules. Aging depletes us. And when it depletes us, we're aging. Why do you think we look older every single year? Well, we're making less mitochondria, and the faster we lose them, hey, the older we look, the quicker. I can show you 80-year-olds that look like they're 50, and I can show you 50-year-olds that look like they're 80. It all depends on when did they run out of potential, okay? Your cells are literally making 3 billion copies of that DNA to try to find the cleanest one to give you an opportunity to make a better version of yourself. If you don't have enough redox, you're not making that many copies. Maybe you're making a few hundred copies and taking the best one that you can get out of the copy of the copy. And so we start to age. Okay. And some people can age gracefully, and then other people literally just don't. Okay. And so it all goes back to the inside of ourselves. Our cells are designed to self diagnose and heal themselves and repair from that damage, communicate where the problem is and what needs to be done. And if it can't bring the life back to that cell, it also has a self destruct button, which ironically needs redox signaling to hit the button to call in a new cell to replace this one. So redox helps everything. It activates and deactivates, it turns things on and turns things off, and it gives our cells the potential to function the way that they're supposed to function. So now we're here to talk about a whole new category of health. And for over 2 decades, every scientist declared that this was impossible. You cannot stabilize redox signaling molecules. It's just not possible. We're talking about hydrogen and oxygen that literally evaporate within a fraction of a second. And we've stabilized it. What does that mean? Well, that's like telling you that I figured out a way to take hot water and cold water and pour them into the same mug and they stay separate. And the hot will stay hot and the cold will stay cold. You'll say, Mark, it doesn't work that way. Sorry, that's not how physics works. And so they just said this was impossible. But that's where underlies our amazing breakthrough. The scientists at ASEA literally figured out how to break these molecules apart and then stabilize them for up to 2 years. And so this is a supplement, but it goes way beyond what we think of when we think of supplements. We're thinking vitamins and minerals and antioxidants and essential oils or CBD oils or exotic juices from fruit. All of these things can be very beneficial. Remember, our cells need the proteins, vitamins, and minerals to make a new healthy cell. So we can't just negate these things. But that's not what ASEA is. ASEA goes beyond all of these things, and it is an actual supplement that will help the cells function so that they know what to do with all of those nutrients. So, in essence, you're going to get more out of what you're eating if you have higher redox potential. This company in 15 years has had such a huge global impact. They operate a business out of over 35 countries. We're in over 40 countries now, being delivered to patients or to families all over the globe that tap into this amazing resource. In fact, thousands and thousands of practitioners and doctors around the globe are using this because it's making them a better doctor. Okay, it's helping us get people better faster and keep them well. And it doesn't really matter what type of doctor or what type of therapy. If you're doing thinking therapy for the brain, well, it's going to help him charge and be able to think more clearly. If you're talking about physical therapy for the body, it's going to help them be able to push the limits further and recover faster. If we're talking any other types of therapy, it's giving your body more potential so it can make you more efficient and better at that. So billions of dollars have been sold in this amazing product across the globe, and it's because no other reason it works. Okay. It's all about results. So when I first met Sherry, she didn't know I had an accident. She was a patient of mine, and she asked me if I knew what redox molecules were. I'm like, why don't I know that? I have literally been trying to crack the code to be able to take people to brain train and do therapy in the brain and be able to push their limits without getting a headache and having to wait. We spent a lot of time doing therapy and waiting. Now, since we introduced ASEA and they started drinking this right before and after therapy, we don't have to wait. It's unbelievable. We would do 30 minutes twice a week, and that's the standard protocol pretty much globally for this type of therapy. Since 11 years ago, when we were first introduced to this, we've been able to push people 4 hours a day, 30 days in a row, with never having to take a break or push them too far. It, in essence, gives us wings to keep flying. So I've been so enamored by this. I look around and see all the other doctors that do this type of therapy. I'm like, well, why wouldn't they add this to it? It just, why are you making people go so slow? That's so 1990s and 2000s. That was so long ago when we had to go that slow. This technology gives us the ability to truly allow our brains to shine, okay, just to give them so much more potential. So I spent a good part of a decade adding this to our protocols and seeing people thrive and get better so much faster that I decided to take on a couple studies. I did a study with over 60 people I started with, ended with 55 that completed it, but it was a 90-day study where they drank 8 ounces of this supplement every day. They also used the Renew 28 on their neck and on their brainstem twice a day. And the middle image here on the top is showing that this person came from almost a grade 4 concussion, which if they were in the military or professional sports, they could not play. Okay, you have to be out of the grade of play. Within the first month, or halfway through the program, they're down to just right at the edge of gray. And at the end of that 90 days, they were back to a zero. So, doing no therapies, adding no other supplements, just taking these molecules, they were able to take all the side effects of all the symptoms that they were having and narrow it down to just within normal limits. And truly, that was astonishing because usually we have to be very aggressive with a lot of therapies. I also did a study with the new Redox Gold, which has monatomic gold into these molecules. It goes directly down one gene pathway, and that's inflammation. Now, we're not talking all function, all cells. We're talking inflammation, oxidation, which is huge because when we see brains that have a bunch of blue, that means we've lost the potential, like the battery's weak. Okay, and they just don't have it like they used to have it. This is 15 minutes after applying just a little dab onto that brainstem. So clinically, I couldn't imagine practicing without it and having to go back to buggy and carriage days after having a vehicle, like having a fast car and having to go back to horseback. It would be a step back in progress of efficiency of how quickly we can get to places and do things. And so it really has been the missing link to bring life back into our cells and into our bodies. Now, my personal experience with redox, I use it every single day. As most of you on the call, and you do it out of habit, I do it out of necessity. I will literally start to fall apart. I mentioned that I do hours of therapy every day just to be able to keep myself pain free, moving, active, serving others, being able to use my mind, create things, and have the life that I've always dreamed of. Well, there's a cost to that, and it costs a lot of work just to keep yourself right, eat the right things, do the right things, really focus on getting good qualities of sleep. If I don't take this for a day, I feel like Cinderella and I'm turning back into a pumpkin. Everything, all my old symptoms and problems start to come back. Now, how do I do it? Well, I wake up in the morning and I usually drink about 8 ounces right there before I even get out of bed. I drink about a half a bottle, sometimes a bottle a day. And that's just my sweet spot. Most people, the baseline is usually around 6 ounces a day, 180 milliliters, I think that is for the other half of the world. Um, but after drinking it, and I finish showering and doing all of that, I will put the Renew 28. I'll put a nice little dab of that. I rub it all over my face, acupressure points all over my ears and the bottom of my feet. I'll do the front and back of my neck. So I'm kind of bald, so I do my whole head. Most people can't get through their hair to do that. So face, ears, neck, front and back. I rub it over my heart because I have heart issues, family history of all of that. So I just always want to bring more potential into there. It's good to put it around your privates. Those are very sensitive cells that are always turning over quickly. So it just keeps things healthy. And then the bottom of your feet is all full of redox or reflexology points. And by stimulating the bottom of your feet, you're literally turning on all the organs and systems in your body and giving them immediate potential. And then we mentioned the gold. How awesome is this gold? Twice a day, always right on the brain stem, just keeps the nervous system, the brain, from causing too much inflammation and oxidation. And then, I have some spinal issues, so I'll put it where my spine issues are. And then I usually don't have to use it. And it lasts literally all day for me. And so many people feel almost instant results with the gold. So again, this is targeted redox for areas that we know when inflammation happens and doesn't go down, it can create problems. We target there. This is general wellness. This goes right into the skin. It helps the skin rebuild new skin that's better, less age spots, wrinkles, cuts, burns, blisters, rashes, open wound. I pack this into open wounds and the bleeding stops and it helps it heal with very minimal to no scar. And so, truly good to have on you at all times in your car, at your office, at work, different places around the house. So you see it and you grab it and actually use it. And then I'll finish off the evening with the last other 8 ounces maybe of Redox. At times that I'm stressed, maybe I do it more throughout the day. But just having somebody, and I don't think we've ever really talked about all the different places we put it just for prevention, for wellness care. Your skin loves this. I wish we could have it in a bath and just jump into the bath and soak for a little while and jump off and I'd be like my 20-year-old self again. It is truly remarkable. Now, outside of that, most people are using this for cell communication. It makes all cells work better. So whatever things don't work well, this is going to help it work it better. Other times, when you're stressed out and you're just not feeling yourself, think, I need a shot of ASEA. Okay. It's just going to help turn things back on. How about just healthy aging? I want to age gracefully and I want to look like I'm 50 when I'm 80. And I want to feel like it and hopefully act like it and be able to perform like it. But this is going to keep that general wellness. And, it's like anti aging. You're not going to lose as much of your potential so quickly. So you're not going to look as old so fast. And then, of course, so many people love it for the physical performance. I noticed such a difference when I take it right before I'm working out and right when I finish that workout for recovery. It really makes a huge difference in how sore you're going to be the next day and how fast your body can remodel those tissues. And outside of that, just general wellness. Okay. We all love this for all aspects of our health. We drink water for general wellness. We take our supplements for general wellness. You don't have to have a reason other than I want to live longer. And so I'm going to invest in this now so that my overall cell health isn't going to age so fast. I mean, if we could stop the aging, and you know what else was come with aging is loss of memories, loss of energy, loss of mobility. I mean, all of these things are going to eventually catch up to people if we stop taking care of ourselves. You can't wait till it happens and think, I'll go back and fix the problem. You are the problem at that point. We need to not be the problem and start being the solution to our health. And that's going to take, I'm sorry to say, but a little bit of proactive accountability. Like you have to actually do it. You can't just say, oh, I learned about it. Learning about it doesn't change your cells. You have to actually consume it. Now, some of you just might need more information in order to have the dots all connect to be like, oh, aha, well, this should be the most important supplement I take. Yes, this is my alpha supplement because without this, everything else is okay, but it's not working as good. And I want everything to be optimized. It's just the mentality. So I want to do that. So for those left brain people that just, they really want to see the science behind it, well, you can go to Google Scholar, you can Google the word redox signaling molecules, and you'll see hundreds of thousands of studies on any type of angle you want to look at on how your body heals because they're in every cell of the body and we know this is where healing begins. So ASEAScience.com has over 25 studies that were done on our product. There's 16 more that are being released here soon, which is amazing. And then Redox Science is also another great resource to look at science on redox signaling molecules with ASEA. So and then on the other side, some people like, the science is great. I trust the science. If they're selling a billion bottles of this and have millions of people being lives are being changed all around the globe, I think the science is probably pretty solid. And the more you learn about the company and the ethos of the company and the manufacturing and the plant, it sets the standard for the FDA for all of the quality control and everything. They say you guys should be teaching the courses on it. It is absolutely that impressive. So, science aside, some people get more moved by hearing stories of other people that might have some symptoms like they have, might have been through some similar situations and been stuck for a long time. And they have a miracle story to tell. So, this is a site, Real Redox Results, and it's real people like you and me. I think Jack's on there, I'm on there. And we've all had some amazing breakthroughs with this product. And they're very short videos, but it's amazing. You can look up all sorts of different conditions and symptoms that people suffer from and hear what it did for them and how it did it for them. Maybe that will inspire you to give it a try. So it really all boils back down to how badly do you want your health? And how much do you enjoy empowering people to help them feel better than they've ever felt before? You don't have to be a doctor to be able to empower somebody. This is the missing link to truly our vitality and our health as we know it. And once the potential's gone, think of your battery in your phone. Once that cell phone battery dies, it's literally just a paperweight. Okay, it looks like a phone. It actually still is one, but without any potential, nothing's happening. And then we power it up. Guess what? Now it can start to signal. And hopefully there's an antenna somewhere, which represents the good bacteria in our gut which is also so important for our health because if we don't have an antenna for our cells to talk through, how do we know what's going on? Oh my gosh, things are damaging me at an accelerated rate because I'm not communicating well. Think of any military base that loses its communication, they're vulnerable. Your cells are vulnerable if they lose communication. So, this is the secret, the missing link to your overall health and longevity. And it truly is going to absolutely change your life. Now, just as a disclaimer that I did not mention in the beginning of this is that ASEA Redox Signaling Molecules and the company ASEA and ourselves, we're brand partners representing this company. And in no way, shape, or form are we trying to diagnose, cure, prevent, or treat any conditions that you have. Only the body can do the healing from within. And so we don't want you to mistake this information. And truly, we're just talking structure function. This is how our body functions. And when it has potential, it functions better. So this is such a gift to each and every one of us to be able to have this and to be able to truly watch our lives transform and the people that we love. So I'm going to turn it back to Sherry, if maybe some questions. You guys have a great day and we'll see you next week. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I wish you had been around to explain that to us in the beginning. We were so totally confused. There was so little research back then. There's so much research today. You can go on sites like the US government site, pubmed.gov, and you will find tens of thousands of studies done on your body's own redox signaling molecules. Or Google's medical site, not Google. That's just somebody's whatever opinion trying to sell you filtered water or something. That's what happened to Jack. He went off of it because he got kind of fooled on there with something that wasn't true. So if we hadn't gotten him back on, he would have been dead 12 years ago. So that's how powerful that statement is. It's just frightening to think back at how sick he was and what ASEA has done. But Scholar, you have to do the HTTPS colon forward slash. You can't do W's in front. You can't not put anything in front. It won't take you anywhere. But the HTTPS colon forward slash scholar, SCHOLAR .google.com. And there are over 1.5 million published papers on your body's own redox signaling molecules. And you can go in there and put in the words redox signaling molecules forward slash and whatever condition issue you want to deal with there. It's a medical site. You can say conditions and information will pop up. And it's so interesting that almost every time we have someone on our team who comes from someone else who comes from the medical world. And so we've looked up a lot of conditions that we went, what is that? When people are asking. And almost every time it'll talk about low glutathione. It is uncanny the way that it just is so often there. And so many of the latest studies done on this talk about how these molecules increase your production of glutathione. And so just bring it back to normal. And so things like that just really help your belief system so that you know that you know that you know. The other thing that will help you are things like Jack and I finally started going back to our clubhouse. We hadn't gone in 5 years. They have a get together every Friday night at TGIF, and you just bring a little something to pass around food wise, and people get together and meet each other. And a lot of the newer people in the community, it's almost 1,000 homes, they will come. So when we got there, we hadn't been in so long that there weren't very many that we knew, hardly anyone. So we were almost like the new people, and we met such great people. And at the end of it, one of the ladies at a table of eight that we were sitting with, she just stayed and wanted to talk. And I don't know how redox signaling molecules happened to drip at some point in the evening into the conversation. And she said, "Can I talk to you more about what you do?" And I'm like, "Sure." And there was just us there. And it turns out she has a condition that is extremely inflammatory, can make your uh, just your joints swell terrible and hurt, and your whole body hurt from head to toe. Sleep is almost impossible because people can hurt so bad. So I always carry a sample tube of the gold. Jack always carries the full tube in his pocket, that just a used one that's open already. But I had a sample, and I just, after listening to her for a half hour, I said, "If I gave you something, would you use it?" Because often they don't, right? If it's free. And so she said, "Yes." Well, Jack overheard, and he comes over with the open tube, and he said, "Here, take this, go in the bathroom and put it on your back," because standing there talking to me, her back had flared up. And so she's in the bathroom like 5 minutes, and I'm like, "Oh, please let this work really fast, like it does 99% of the time." And she comes out and she just looks at me and goes, "I don't hurt anymore." And she said, "My wrist and arm always hurt up here. So I took what was left and I just went like this, and it's quit hurting." So 2 days later, I was at her house to deliver her product. And and I called her 2 days later because she was drinking the liquid and I wanted to check on her. And I'm like, "How you doing?" And she goes, "Well, I always," she had said that night, "I always hurt, always, like always, day and night. There is never a time I don't hurt." That was the first night we were with her. So when I went to her home a couple of days later, she'd been on the product just a couple of days. And I said, "So how do you feel? Do you hurt anywhere?" She's like, "I don't hurt." And it was just the coolest thing. We can't make it work. It's just what your body is. For Jack, it took 6 weeks. For other people, I have someone with a similar condition to her. It took 5 months, but that was back in the day when we took little bitty amounts a day because we didn't know any better, that sometimes more can be better for certain things. So she has doubled and is doubling again how much she's taking. I talked to her yesterday and she's doing great. I'm sure she'll come on here someday and give us a great story herself. But I just love, say to Jack and I, "Why at your age do you still work?" And I'm like, how do you even call this work? It's not work. You watch somebody right in front of your eyes get a better quality of life. It's a blessing for us to watch them have those results. So I don't know, we can take maybe just a couple of questions if anybody has any before we go today. You want to type anything quick into the chat, or just unmute would be better if you have a question for Dr. Mark or me, Rosalie, any of us.
You're muted, Rosalie.
Debbie's asking, does it help improve your vision, and can you start using it in your 80s?
In your 80s? Well, I'm 81, Jack is 85, so yeah, you better start using it before it's too late. Absolutely. I think, Jackie, your mom's up there, right?
Yeah, she's 88 now. She started taking it 3 years ago now. Yeah, she's doing good. Yeah.
And does it improve your vision? All
Uh-oh. And it
Thought it was me for a
resuscitate sharing
moment.
Wi-Fi?
Is Jack stuck as well? Is he frozen?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not. Can you explain how Redox 28 gel is as effective as the liquid at getting redox into the body?
It's actually more effective if the body part is, well, I guess it doesn't matter because you can put it over the areas of your blood flow and get it right into your blood, which would take it anywhere. But it's twice as concentrated molecules. So you're getting twice as much in a little space. And when we're drinking it, it's going through our digestive system, up through our vagus nerve, into our brain, into our blood, and then eventually to all the tissues. But the skin's the last place from drinking it. If we put it on the skin, then the skin's the first place. And then it goes down and gets into the blood and gets everywhere. So the skin that you're making today will be on the surface in 28 days. Hence why it's called Renew 28, because you're building the bottom layer today. You need to start building a better bottom layer. If you don't like the top layer now, you need to be consistent with it every single day. And in a month, it's going to look more beautiful, more functional, look better the way it should look, I should say. And it might not be like the best version of you, it might just be a little better version. It might take a few cycles, a few months to finally get through some of these scars and continue to chip away and get a better version of it.
My Zoom shut down and just came back up. So maybe you said something while I was gone that if I repeat,
We
I'm
did,
sorry.
and I already answered it, so
Oh,
we're
okay.
good.
As far as the eyes, it was interesting that I was reading some notes that I keep taped to my monitor actually about the vagus nerve and how the first thing in the article I read that it helps, that it says, is the eyes. And as you have
Interesting.
said, I know, right? The eyes, all neurological function, taste. Look at how many people 5 years ago lost their taste and they get on a Cia and get it back. Well, think if we had had the gold, we could have used the Renew 28. If we knew back then the power of putting it right on the back of the neck, up right near the skull, base of the skull there, it's so powerful, but on each side of that, you have the vagus nerve, and the vagus goes down to all your organs in your gut and everywhere. And there's another one that it's too long, I can't remember. It goes up on the right side of the spine and goes to the brain. And so just rub it on the whole back of your neck because then you're getting to everything. But it talks about your balance and neuropathy pain. And we've had 5 people now, another one last week, that the feeling came back in their feet and their hands and their legs that were numb for multiple reasons. And it came back by them only putting it on the back of their neck because that's what we test. And we learned that from you, Dr. Mark, when they released this. And I was sitting next to you and watched it happen
Mhm.
to you. Um, anyway, it can help the brain stem. It can help also the upper back to the mid back, the atlas at the top to your low back, your lymph glands, uric acid, um, and then all your joints and your spine. Like that's just putting it there on the brain stem at the top of the neck, base of the skull. And it connects, just goes through the body, up, down, every which way. It's just stunning. So I loved reading that. Um,
Oh, you're on eyes at one of our meetings earlier in the week, because I don't think you would have seen this. Can you see this,
yes,
which I'm talking about? This is
nebulizer.
what it told us, the little tiny weeny nebulizer, and this is made to go on your eye.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Oh, you've
I
got to
love
get
it.
these, Dr. Mark. Jackie, can you put the link on if you can find it again? So when you press the little button, it's so powerful.
I have the same little machine, but I have the full mask that slips on. I don't have a little
No,
eye
no, no.
mask.
This is even smaller. Look, this is like
Yeah,
about the size of your finger. So
yeah.
it lights up when it's on, and you can use it for your eyes. If you put it near your face and inhale, it quietly goes up your nose. So you said to me last week about putting it up my nose. Is it the same?
Dude,
Oh, it's
Yeah.
it's the same.
the same.
But
Yeah.
I got this big thing.
Oh, okay. Yes, you could put a different one on. Well, this was for Patrick had an eye operation and he discovered it, and you can hold it right into the eyes. And if you just had a sear going into your eyes for seconds, really, yeah, that's a bit big,
This
isn't it?
one works too. I
Yeah, well,
can
it
feel
will.
the coolness on my eye. That's great.
But doing it in your eyes, and I also do it in my ears. So
So
that's
Meg wrote that her dad is nearly 82. He's worn glasses since a teenager. His eyes have improved so much so that he's no longer wearing glasses. He's been taking a Cia for 2 years and spraying it into his eyes. I like using a dropper into my eyes. I do it twice every day. I have dry eye from wearing hard lens contacts for 50 years. And so it is amazing for dry eye. Lucy says her father at 81 had an eye test and they said you don't need glasses anymore after
yay.
wearing glasses also since he was a teen. How about that? That's awesome.